Yo, what up, it's Compton Rick Rubber, Compton Rick Rock TV. But before we get into this, let's jump into this.
You're now watching Compton Rick Rock TV.
The story of a legendary Santana block Compton Crip OG Turtle coming up in Compton, California was always somebody that was talked about, always somebody that was glorified, especially coming from the lowrider community. I am a lowrider. I do come from the lowrider community. So when I hear names like this, the first thing that come to my mind is the clean lowriders that I have seen on social media. No, I have not met him, but I know a whole lot of people from out his community, such as Gangsta. And if you all know Gangsta, you know Gangsta is legendary himself with the lowriders. Excuse me, I'm excited this morning, especially when it comes to talking about my city. I love my city. So, you know, I'm kind of fumbling with the words this morning, but it's okay. Bear with me. Gangsta's also a legendary Santana block, and he's known for his luxurious cars, man. Beautiful cars, always had nice, clean lowriders, man. One of my favorite was the Santana, the white 64. Before I went to prison, I have had the opportunity to see that car getting put together. Well, anyway, let's get into this video. This is from one of the guys that I have talked smacked about back in the days, but listening to this story seems a little accurate to me. And if it's not accurate, then OG ENT here will come behind, I'm pretty sure, and clean up any mishaps in the story. But just talking about a Compton OG, we're gonna get a channel another try. Let's get to this, man. And this channel is War in Cali. Let's get to it.
I'm a detail of Compton street legend named Turtle. Turtle was born Kenneth Johnson on July 23rd, 1958 in Louisiana, but spent much of his youth in Texas. Turtle grew up with 3 brothers and 2 sisters and grew up in a 2-parent home. In September of 1972, Turtle and his family would move to Compton and moved to Rose Street. Compton, South Central, Watson, Inglewood, and several other surrounding cities were beginning to have a lot of gang activity at the time, and Turtle landed in the middle of what would become the Crips and the Bloods. These 2 different crews would be taking neighborhoods over by storm and having a big impact on the urban youth. Turtle and his brother Whiskey would be unaware of what they came to, with Texas not having Crips, Bloods, or Pyrus at the time. So this was like a whole new world to them.
2 warring clans, the Crips and the Bloods or Pyrus. The leader of the Santana block Crips is 24, a drug peddler. He's been a gang member since he was 14. Kenneth Johnson, known as Turtle.
How I started, I had just moved to California. And I was going to Roosevelt Junior High School. And a lot of Bloods used to come up to the school and run them everybody home. You know, and I used to wonder, you know, what's happening? What they running everybody home for? Well, it's skating ring, partner. So, you know, I used to wonder what they running for. What's Crip? What's Pyru? So I go home. My buddies used to, you know, ask me what I'm doing coming from that way. You a Pyru? I say, no, man. And I get stopped on the other side of the street. They ask me if I'm a Crip. And I say, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So I was in the, you know, in the blind. I didn't know what was what. Till a couple of guys told me, you know, Pyru's over there, you know, Crips over here, you know. So I say, is that right? What's that? They say a gang, a street gang. You know, so me and my little brother, we didn't know, you know, we didn't know nothing. You know, we knew. So after a while, you know, we got to going along, you know, getting used to it. You know, so we started being in the street gang too. Crips. Crip. You know, I started doing what the Crip was.
Even though Turtle grew up in a middle-class family, with his parents being business owners and also strict parents, he was still infatuated with the streets. No matter how much Turtle parents tried to take him away or stop him from being around gang members, he dove deeper in the streets. It got so bad, his mom would be pulling him off the streets and even beating him. His dad would try to make him work at the family business, but Turtle and his dad would never see eye to eye, and he even rebelled more. By the age of 14, Turtle was a young official member in his hood, but getting in the streets would get serious for Turtle early, with having shootouts with other members of his set off confusion of mistaken identity. And also by this time, he started selling drugs. He also was getting cocktails thrown in his house off getting into altercations with other drug dealers. Mac Thomas, the proclaimed founder of the Grandee Compton Crips, and Duck, one of the founding members of the Old Park Boys, were major figures at that time in the earlier years in Compton. Before Santana Block formed, those 2 gangs were the gangs in the area. In 1976, Kim Bullet Tate had a vision to bring the 2 gangs together and make them one as Santana Black Crips. Bullet also initiated the dress code to set Santana out from the rest of the gangs by wearing all black with black bandanas. Bullet's vision was embraced by everyone, and the Santana Black Compton Crips became an official gang in Compton. But by 1978, Bullet would lose his life. It was said to be done by the Pirus. This took the violence to another level, with the Santana Blocks being ready for war and declaring war on all the Pirus. With Mac Thomas dying, now Bullet, those were big losses with them being such leaders. So the Santana Blocks would need new leadership. Turtle was only 20 years old at the time, but he was one of the people to carry the torch and keep the Santana Black Crips name ringing bells. From what he did in the streets, Turtle built a reputation known for handling business and also being one of the smartest and most militant gang members around. He also had a charismatic personality that gained him a large following. He was viewed as a leader and well respected in his hood and his community, but he was still hated by many enemies. Turtle would be on the other side of the gun, being shot 6 times, but he survived.
The next minute, I'm running from gunshots. So the only thing I said to myself, say, man, we're gonna start doing what they doing. You know, same thing they do to us, we do to them. That wasn't mean, but you had to, you know, either do or die or stay in the house. You know, fight or stay in the house. So I wasn't gonna stay in the house.
When they come to the home front, that's when we use it. Yes. And when they come shoot us, we go back and shoot them. Hey, look, hey, man.
Turtle had a businessman mindset early on, with knowledge from his dad and picking up fast in the streets. He was one of the driving forces in his gang, with making moves on the streets and knowing how to handle himself in war against the Pirus. Compton was crazy with death back and forth on each side.
We've been the last 2 or 3 years and has an equal record prior when he's a juvenile.
I'm ready to run light below by one.
I don't call myself a leader. I don't like nobody saying I got boys, because I don't like that. You know, but somebody have to do the thinking, you know. And I'm the only one around, don't get high, don't smoke dope or nothing, so I figure I can do the thinking.
Somebody in there ready to drive now? Friend still here?
Yeah.
All right.
1983, Turtle was starring a documentary called Real Lives, Gang City. He basically talked about his introduction to his gang and what he was going through at the time in his life. He was 24 at the time of the documentary. By this time period, drugs were taken all over the communities across the world, and Compton would experience the same thing. Turtle knew how to make money, and that's exactly what he did. He would become a major figure in the drug trade. It was even said that Turtle was paying off the police, giving them money and drugs to stay off him and his gang. Turtle started having so much money, he started buying homes in his hood and started renting them out. He loved Compton so much, even though he had the money to leave, he wouldn't. He would even be looking out for his family and always giving back to his community. But with the money came more clout and came more recognition, and Turtle already had a lot of both. Turtle would get into cars and being flashy, and cars was one of his way to stand out, having many different unique cars and even being a part of the Majestic Car Club. But with everything going good and money flowing, Turtle would end up going to prison for a while and spent his time at San Quentin State Prison with many other notable Crips. After getting out of jail, what many would say was one of the most devastating days in Santana Block Crip history would happen. On February 28th, 1989 in Linwood, Turtle will be shot and killed. Now it's said of many theories of what happened. Police would say a rival gang killed Turtle, but many would say it was the police. The situation surrounding his death always sounded fishy to everybody. Turtle's death was said to be like the death of a superstar, with many people in attendance. Turtle's friends would be blocking off the streets and riding in lowriders showing out for Turtle. Turtle was so well respected, it was even said some Pirus came to his funeral to show respect. It has been over 30 years since Turtle's death, but still to this day, he gets talked about and spoke about in legendary and elite status. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check.
Rest in peace to Turtle. Yeah, man. Video was kind of old, so you know it's kind of blurry, but at the end of the day, you guys get the story. Turtle was a real Compton native. Said he came from Texas. It's all good, but you know, it ain't where you at, it's where you from, man. So check this out. We're gonna get to another one Well, before we get to the other one, it was a whole lot of crossed out initial words in the video. And no disrespect to those gangs. I seen a couple of B's crossed out. I seen a couple of P's crossed out. Yeah, no disrespect to those gangs, man. This part of the video that we found speaking on the Compton legend, and we let it run. So we're gonna get to this other one, Reggie Wright Sr. Now, for you guys don't know who this guy is right here. He used to be, I don't even know his position in the police department, but this is Lil Reggie father. I know I know a lot of you guys always see Lil Reggie doing his interviews talking about the death row days in the 90s. Well, this is gonna blow y'all mind. This guy right here took me to jail when I caught my first serious case. Came, knocked on my door, and this time these police, they knew your parents. It wasn't like today how you got, you know, white people coming from all these other cities and they set them right here in these areas and they scared of them. Back then we used to call these the Compton dum-dums, but they wasn't so dumb. They just wasn't really tripping how the police trip today, because they come from these communities. They knew a lot of people in the community in these neighborhoods by first and last name. They also knew your mother and your grandparents. Well, anyway, this guy right here, Reggie Wright Sr., just so happened to be my auntie baby daddy. Yeah, this is my auntie baby daddy. So the little Reggie that you guys see on the internet that always talking about death row just so happened to be my cousin's brother. It gets deep, y'all. But anyway, none of that didn't matter by him having a baby by my auntie and being in the family. Still didn't show me no leniency. Still came to the house, called my mother by her first name, and took me to jail. Well, anyway, let's get into this, man. Reggie Wright. The name of this one is Reggie Wright Sr. on Santana Block Turtle, Gangsta the Twins, Melly Mel, Bad Habit, Rabbit. Let's get into this video, man. Today is a Compton day. It's a turtle day for me. I woke up today and I just thought about doing some Compton content in my city. Since I'm always talking about other cities, let's get to my city, which is also famously known for a lot of contributes that we have done in this entertainment game. Let's get to this though, man. Let's go.
Turtle, Kenneth Johnson. He I was kind of close to him. I really took to him. Only, I guess, because I had known of him and his family when I was working for the Edison Company. My job at the Edison Company, part of it, was to collect light bills, basically. And over in that area where he was living on Roll Street, I had to spend a lot of time over there, trying to collect the light bills for families. And I had to go to his home a couple of times, and his mother was a real nice lady. I think she single mom, had a few kids. And I used to, I guess I could say it now because I won't get in trouble, but myself coming from a large family and living in the projects and the Imperial Courts and stuff, I remember my mama hiding from the light man coming to collect. So I had a little mixed emotion about my job. So I had to, in order to keep my job, I had to turn off lights sometime for people who couldn't make the payment. But right when I turned it off, I would show somebody in the family how to turn it back on. But my records would show it was on. And I remember Turtle's older brother. I would show him how to turn the lights back on. So they always kind of respected me. So when I became a police officer, a year or two after that, I encountered Turtle and them. They were forming their little Santana Block Crips at that time. And, naturally, if I had any dealings with them or anything, I always got the utmost respect. And so I really felt real bad the day that I heard that he was shot in Linwood right after he had gotten out of jail for something. But that's Turtle. But Gangster Freddie Staves sort of like stepped in the leadership part of the Santana block. He started gaining that same respect that Turtle had, Gangster. I had the same relationship with him for the same reasons of working that area and going to his house before, knowing his family prior to that Santana block formalizing themselves as gangsters. Got the utmost respect from him as well. There were a lot of situations that went down, and only thing I would do, I'd contact Freddie, and say, hey, this individual did this or that, or they did this, and he would see to them that they'll basically turn themselves into me, and answer for what was going on. So I always had that kind of respect for Freddie as well, and his little brothers. They sort of, like Freddie did, respected me and my role, in dealing with them. So it worked out real well. Now, Melly Mel, I didn't really have a lot of contact with him because he was quiet. He didn't step out like they did. I met him and saw him hanging out and probably FI'd him a couple of times, but he always, to me, seemed like the smart one, or one of the smart ones. There was a couple of them, but Melly Mel definitely was one of the ones that he would talk with you and stuff, but it was always at a more intellectual basis. So, but as far as gang banging activity and all that kind of stuff, I never had that experience with him, Melly Mel.
Okay. Are there any more members of Santana blocks that stick out in your mind that you can speak on that you had dealings with?
Well, another little interesting character. Matter of fact, when I got on the sheriff department and was working Twin Towers over the at LCMC over the medical unit over there, I saw him. This was about 8 or 10 years ago. But at the time, Santana was I guess the one I used to like to challenge all the time. And that was Robert Jones. They called him B-Rab. Or not, B-Rob was Robert Franklin, but Rabbit. Bad Habit Rabbit. Now you're talking about an interesting young man. Very smart. But by the same token could be ignorant at the same time. That was Rabbit. Every time I'd go over there and deal with something like that, I would get a challenge from him. Not disrespectfully, but, he wanted to prove he was the smart guy, in the group. And, but he never did anything real serious. Like I used to tell him he wasn't hard. He just wanted to profess to be hard. He wasn't hard. But he was a very interesting character. Then again, the other ones that stick out naturally were the Hartsfield's family. And that was Herbert Hartsfield. My names are slipping me right now. And the oldest one that was kind of pretty intelligent too. Not the oldest one. That was, Jenny, you might can help me with Sag. I think he has a podcast now. He was one of the brothers. And then I'm trying to think of the one, he was a taller one. He was in the, little younger than the other Hartsfield. It was 3 of them, 3 brothers. They all was active, very active. But the unique part about dealing with them, their father was a reserve police officer with us. At the time I got on, his father had kind of retired from a reserve position. But every time I'd have little problems with them, I would go to their dad and he would check them quick. So most of their activity was kind of behind them. But my favorite Santana, go to say other than maybe Turtle or Gangster, was a female. And that was the Hartsfield sister, Joanne. That girl was a character. From the Crip side, she was like my Cynthia Nunn or my Sylvia Nunn. I don't know if she was as hard as Sylvia, but Joanne, you could deal with her, but she would keep it mellow, or if it was some of them wanted to act stupid, she would tell them they better chill out. That's why I compared her to Cynthia Nunn and Sylvia, because I had that same kind of respect from a female who had some clout in Pyrus and Ludus Park and all that. But Joanne Hartsfield was that way. J-Bo.
Are there any more really active people from Santana Block that you remember other than the ones that you spoke on a few minutes ago?
Yeah, I just thought about the twins, Angelito and Angelo. Those were two blood brothers. Matter of fact, they were twins. That doesn't matter. One we used to call Grill because he had all his front teeth. And then the other one, how we distinguished him, he didn't have no upper front teeth. So we used to call him one grill and one no grill. But those characters, and we lost one. One of them got killed in a big gang, how would you say it? Not a rivalry, because they both were hanging out. Another set from Linwood, and the Santanas got into it over some girl or some dope or whatever. And they had a car chase where one of the twins was in this chase where the guys from Linwood was chasing them down Santa Fe, shooting at them. I mean, an actual OK Corral shootout from Linwood down to the south end of Compton on Santa Fe, just shooting at each other. And unfortunately, twin crashed on the south end. I think this was Angelito. I'm not sure. One of the two crashed out on the south end near the 91 freeway. And they ended up kidnapping him. Like, once he crashed, they went and took him out of the crash and took him over to Johnson Street over in the Spooktown area and tortured him and shot and killed him. But he was active and they were doing a lot. The other one still alive today somewhere. I haven't talked to him in years, the other twin. But those two characters, I mean, they were deadly. I mean, and they weren't even from the area either. Matter of fact, I think they lived in a decent location somewhere off of Gardena or near Gardena somewhere. But they were very active, Angelito and Angelo.
Yeah, man, there you have it, man. Reggie Wright Sr., man, he was definitely one of the guys that took me and plenty others to jail in the city of Compton. But one thing about these guys, like I say, you see how he knew Turtle's mom, and they knew a lot of people, mothers, bookmen. It was a few of them, man. What was the police that always used to crack everybody back then? It was the what was their name, man? I can't. Blondie. It was Blondie and Lad, man. Oh man, them dudes were no joke. But they wasn't trigger happy like the police is today. These dudes, you know, they wouldn't just pull up and disrespect you. They'd pull up and they knew you. So a lot of people got a break back then. Like I say, this just so happened to be my auntie's boyfriend at the time, as well. This is my cousin's father. Lil Reggie is my cousin's brother. Well, I got to get up out of here. I got to go pick up some things for some new content for YouTube, man. We're gonna switch it up. I had fun doing these reaction videos. I still would do them. Might start a reaction channel, but I want to do some more content different from this, more entertaining. You know, I want to do a little bit of I don't even want to say it, but I want to do something different for my channel. So let's get up out of here, man. It's Compton Rick Rock, Compton Rick Rock TV. Rest in peace to Turtle, and salute to my city. Catch y'all on the next one.